Alright guys, Mr. Rosen here again. Today I want to show you a little introduction to Adobe Animate. What I've done is I've gone into Adobe Animate and I created just a new document. I just clicked an HD one and here is what you will look like, or here's what the program looks like. So this is the 2022 version of it. On the left side, this is where a lot of your tools are going to be for drawing. Okay. And if you're not aware what Adobe Animate is a program that's part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. And what it's meant for is for making animations. So you can make animations that you can stick on a website, you can make small little games with it, things like that. So it's really fun way of learning animation and, like I said, getting a lot of creative stuff here happening. So let me show you how you can use Adobe Animate to make an animation. Okay, I'll make it something very simple. So a couple things just to note. Okay, this thing right here, this white box, this is called the stage. Right now it says scene 1. This is my stage. This is where I'm going to draw all my stuff. Down here, this is called my timeline. And you could see that there's numbers. It's kind of dark, but it goes like 5, 10, 15, 20. These are all these different cells or frames. Okay. You could think of these as being like, like the old Walt Disney animations. They would draw, let's say they were drawing Dumbo, right? They would have a little frame, and then they would draw the next frame. Dumbo would be a little bit different, and then the next frame, Dumbo would be in a little bit different position, and you flick through them really quickly. That's how you make an animation, okay? So that's what these are. These are frames. And let me just show you, for example, how you would do like an old school animation, how it would work. So let's do my name, okay? So I'm going to go and put my name here, Rosen. I don't like that color. I can't even read it, so I'm going to change the color to a blue color. I think you could change it also with this as well here. And there's my name. If I want to move my name, I'm going to use the selection tool. I can move it around wherever I want. So let's put it right here. Now, for this to be an animation, I need this to be called a symbol. Okay. So what you can do is you can right-click it, and you can convert it to a symbol. And we'll call it name symbol. Now you might be asking, well, what's the symbol? What's the point of that thing? Okay. If you go under library, this is a list of where all your symbols will be. Okay. And what's good about symbols is that once you've got them made once, you can pull as many out as you need, which is really cool. Okay. And so if you imagine, let's say you're making an animation and you make a blade of grass, for example, and the blade of grass is perfect. You've animated it, you like it exactly the way it is. You can pull out as many blades of grass as you want once you've got one blade done. That's the idea of the library and symbols, okay? Now for this one, my symbol is just my name, Rosen, okay? I mean, there's no real need for that, but if you don't do it, it's going to tell you need a symbol for animations anyway. So that's how you do it. You just right-click it and you go modify, change the symbol. If you right-click it, you can go convert to symbol. Now, if I was going to animate this thing, and let's say I want to make this thing go down here. That's my animation. It's going to go from here down to here. How would I do that? Okay, so here's the old school way. You would go to the next frame, right-click, insert a keyframe, and you would take your name and then move it a little bit. And then you would do the same thing on the next frame. So we insert another keyframe, and we're going to move it again a little bit more. And then we're going to do it again. Insert another keyframe, and we'll move it a little bit more. Okay. So I got 4 frames. You can see how it's starting to move down that way. If I hit enter, I can sort of preview it. Okay, I can preview this. Now, is this ideal? Right? I mean, I could keep going all the way until it's down here. It's going to be time consuming. And maybe it's not perfect. I mean, I'm just dragging it along. It might look kind of zigzaggy. I'm not sure. It might not work out very good, right? So we can use the power of the computer to do this for us. We can get it to draw all these little frames along the way really easily. So I'll show you how we can do it, because this old school way is not very efficient. Let's get rid of those frames. I'm going to highlight the 3 at the end, right click and remove them. So I have just my first frame. Now what I'm going to do is I want it to take exactly 1 second to go from here down to here. And I notice that my program right now is 30 frames a second. That's what this tells me. 30 frames per second. So on frame 30, I'm going to right click and insert a keyframe right here. And I'm going to take frame 30 and drag my name down to the bottom, like that. So here's frame 1, and here's frame 30. Now I need it to get from here down to there. So what I can do is right click the area between it, and there's a thing that says Create Classic Tween. What that does is it draws an arrow, okay, from one frame to the other, and it actually will figure out all of the frames in between it, which is really, really good. Saves us a ton of time, right? If I hit enter, we can see what it looks like. Nice and smooth, which is great. Takes 2 seconds to do that. Tweens, these, like this was a classic tween. You could remove it if you have to, okay? Classic tweens, they always go between keyframes. So let's say we want to do another animation. We'll make the name go back to the left corner here. Let's go to frame 60, insert a keyframe, and on frame 60 I'm going to move my name right there. So we want it to go from there to there. Again, right click, insert classic tween, and done. So let's see what the whole thing does. Hit enter, and there we go. Okay, so that's how you use a classic tween. It's always from a keyframe to a keyframe. They're called keyframes for that reason. These are going to be like your special frames where you're going to do something between them. Okay, you do like an animation or something is going to happen between those two keyframes. Now, let's go ahead and make another layer here. I'm going to make another layer, and because I got 2 layers now, I'm going to actually rename these. So I'm going to double click right here, call this thing name layer, and this one I'm going to call this ball layer. And what I'm actually going to do in the name layer is I'm going to lock it. I'm going to click that lock symbol. That way I don't accidentally mess up the name anywhere. And I can even turn it invisible if I want. So sometimes that's useful. If you want to turn that layer off so you don't get confused by anything that's on it, you can do that. Now when you're looking at these layers, okay, you can see the ball layer. It has a circle here, but it's like it's hollow almost. It's like a gray in the middle. And the name layer has a black dot that's solid down there. The black dot indicates that there's something drawn on that frame. The hollow one, like ball layer right here, that means there's nothing on it. It means it's invisible. So this layer is on top right now. It's invisible. Nothing's on it. So let's draw a ball, and we'll see how that thing is going to change. So let's draw a ball. Change its color. Maybe we'll do like a green color here. And I don't know, I'll draw it up here. Alright, now you can see I've got a black circle there because there is something now on that frame. Okay, there's something on that frame, so that's what the circle is here. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off the name. Now, let's get that ball to start moving. I'm going to make it bounce down and then go up and make like an M or W shape kind of thing. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is insert a keyframe. Now watch, I'm not going to make it a symbol. You'll see what I mean by it's going to tell me to. I'm going to insert a frame here, a keyframe on frame 15. And then on frame 15, I'm going to move it. So let's move it right here. And let's do a classic tween. Okay, see what it says convert selection to a symbol for a tween? Okay, so you have to convert it to a symbol for this to work. So the easiest thing to do is if you click OK, then what will happen is it actually does these 2 tween things in the library here. I'm not crazy about doing it that way myself. That will work, but that's not how I would do it. So I'm going to undo what I just did. I don't know if I can actually undo that whole thing. Undo, okay. These are still here. Let's remove these. Delete, delete. Okay. Here's what I would do instead. Let's remove that frame again. So, whoops. Sorry, let me get rid of all these here. Okay, so what I would do instead is I would take my ball and I would convert this to a symbol first. You can right click it or click modify. Convert it to a symbol first, call it ball symbol, and you have a single thing right here. That's exactly what you want. You want one of them. Okay, so I got my ball symbol here. Let's go ahead and insert a keyframe on frame 15. Let's move it down here. Then on frame 30, another keyframe. Let's make it up here. And then on frame 45, another keyframe. Make it down here. And on frame 60, another keyframe. Let's move it up there. So this is the pattern we want it to go on. We want it to start there, 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 and then finally there. So because I have keyframes and because I'm using symbols, all I got to do is right click each one, create a classic tween. Right click this one, create a classic tween, create a classic tween, and another classic tween. Let's hit enter and see what it looks like. There we go. Now I can turn on my name as well, so I can see them both at the same time. The ball is actually on top of the name. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the order of the layers does matter. Okay, the ball is actually on top of the name. So that's a couple of examples of using classic tweens with layers. Now I do want to show you how to do the motion tween as well. So let's lock this one as well, and I'm going to make another layer called motion tween example. And let's just turn these off so I don't mess them up. For the motion tween, let's go ahead and make a rectangle here. And let's do some different color, maybe like this pinky color. And we'll draw it right there. First thing we're going to do, we're going to make that into a symbol. Right click, convert the symbol. I'm going to call it purple rectangle. And this time I want this thing to go crazy. I want it to be really zigzaggy all over the place here. Okay. So if I'm going to do something more complex, the motion tween is a better way of doing it. All you have to do for a motion tween is you right click and create a motion tween. And the entire timeline here is going to turn this yellow color. And the idea here is you're going to click on different frames. So let's click frame 5 and we're going to move it there in frame 5. And then frames 7 or 8, we'll make it go over there. And then frame 15, go over here. And wherever I move it to, that is where it's going to go. And it's sort of making this pathway of where it's going to go. So I'm just drawing some kind of random pattern here. And then over there, and then maybe for frame 60, well, right at the top there. So you can see it's got this crazy zigzaggy pattern. Okay, that would be a little bit of a pain to do with a classic tween. And yeah, so let's see what this thing looks like now. So let's turn the other ones back on. It's lagging out a bit on my computer, but could be because I'm recording my screen. Could be the lag. Let's try testing it though. Okay, the better way of previewing, if you want to see what the real animation actually looks like, is you go to Control and Test. There we go. Now it's not lagging anymore. That's actually what it looks like. Okay, so it's really crazy looking, that pattern. It's all zigzaggy. I mean, normally you wouldn't do an animation like that, but that just goes to show you how to use the motion tool. You could use it for more complex movements and stuff like that. Sometimes a little bit easier than doing classic tweens. Either one will get you to the same place. You can get any kind of motion, any kind of animation you want. So again, this was just a little introduction to Adobe Animate. Again, I wanted to show you classic tweens, motion tweens, a little bit about the layers, a little bit about some of the shapes and stuff. And hopefully you learned a little bit about this. And yeah, like I said, a little introduction to Adobe Animate.